Today I'm speaking with Mr. Craig Marshall, Managing Director of Empire Oil and Gas. ERM Power has requisitioned a meeting of Empire shareholders in what they claim is an attempt to strengthen the company. What was your initial reaction to ERM's move?
Well, I'm very disappointed, angry that our joint venture partner, who obviously has their own view, being a joint venture partner, of the value of Empire's assets and in particular the Red Gully Production Facility. So of course this is something that all of the directors aren't happy about, where a requisition of shareholders to spill the board is, we can essentially see, is a process of seeking to control the company at board level as opposed to making a fair and reasonable bid to all shareholders for the value of the company.
Would you consider this an opportunistic move?
Certainly.
ERM has called this meeting citing cost overruns and delays in commissioning of the Red Gully Processing Facility. How do you respond to these accusations?
Well, I've never raised them before. There has been an extended commissioning period. There has been a cost. We've stated what the cost is. So the cost of construction, that's all fair and within what we estimated it to be. But the cost and time frame of commissioning and when you choose to commence operatorship is a joint venture decision of which ERM is certainly aware of.
So ERM would have approved the cost proposals that you've put forward?
ERM have approved all of the costs that have been put forward for construction, commissioning and operating this production facility.
Was there a tendering process for the Red Gully facility?
Yes, there was. There was a tendering process for every item that was purchased, and the items purchased actually were within budget.
And ERM approved everything?
Yes,
through
they
the
did.
tendering process?
And we're well and truly aware of that tendering process.
And the associated costs?
Yes.
ERM Power has announced that it is not trying to take control of Empire Oil and Gas and will eventually hold only one board seat, despite wanting to appoint 3 board members of its own choice over a 6-month period. Would you be prepared to offer ERM a board seat now to avoid a prolonged distraction?
Let's make it clear that what ERM are asking shareholders is to consider is not the appointment of permanent directors, but they want to put on interim directors. And the interim directors will then be replaced with faceless unnamed men.
So, Craig, in order to avoid this 6-month caretaker period, would you be prepared to offer ERM a seat on the board of Empire Oil and Gas?
Well, normally in Australia, a party that has 15% shareholding in a company is entitled to and be granted a board seat on the company. And if essentially they did do that, we would certainly be prepared to offer them a board seat.
ERM claims that their requisition of a meeting will not delay or interrupt Empire's business. Do you think this will have any impact on the across the basin farm out?
To consider that a 6-month period of review isn't going to affect the company is naive. What will happen is the plan that's put in place of exploration, drilling and seismic will stop.
And would a caretaker period also affect it further?
Well, I think if you have a period where nothing's being done, first of all, the permits are in jeopardy because no work is being done. And of course, those parties that are looking at farming in will take that into consideration also.
Craig, you're a founding director and have been on the board since 1994. Why do you think that ERM are trying to raise your new contract as a decision to roll the board?
I don't believe that raising that issue has anything whatsoever to do with calling a 249D notice. I think that's purely, as I said earlier, about trying to get control of the fantastic assets that Empire has in the Perth Basin. Regarding my own employment contract, That is purely a requirement now that we're in operations. The amount is essentially the same as that I've always been paid as a consultant.
Now, Craig, ERM also cites the legal fees indemnity for directors over defamation actions against Empire shareholders who criticise the company on social media sites as one of the issues of concern. What do you believe is behind this?
Well, if ERM have real concern about that, we invite Mr Heading to come to Perth, sign the normal disclosure and waivers that are required, and investigate the costs and litigation.
Craig, ERM have stated that they don't want to take control of the company. Clearly you believe they do. Why do you believe that?
Well, this has happened before when Eddie Smith and his group sought to do the same thing, spill the board last year to be opportunistic to gain control of Empire's assets, in particular the Perth Basin. And I certainly believe that Empire shareholders will see this is exactly the same, with ERM seeking to spill the board, to control the board and consequently have control over the Perth Basin assets, Red Gully. And of course, Red Gully is starting to produce some very significant revenue.
Do you think that ERM is qualified to control the board of Empire?
Even though these two nominees are respected businessmen, they haven't grown a company from nothing to being worth $100 million. So we are an operational, hands-on company. The majority of the directors are all technical. We have myself, a petroleum geologist with over 30-odd years experience all over the world, and particularly in Australia. Bevan Warris is also a petroleum geologist, and Jeff McDonald is a petroleum engineer. So we are a technically based, focused company and operate also as directors. So we're working technical directors of the company.
Craig, do you have any insight into what is motivating ERM to take the actions it has taken against the directors of Empire?
Well, I think that they've taken the action to control the board and to control the company's assets without taking a formal bid to all shareholders. All of the directors of Empire are going to defend this position, and we do not see this as something that's beneficial at all to all shareholders. May well be beneficial to ERM, but not beneficial to all of the 12-odd thousand shareholders that the company has. We should be concentrating on building the company up, drilling the wells in the programs that we've got.
Now, Craig, I understand you've just come back from Red Gully. How are things progressing up there?
Well, the plant's running very well. It's producing at in excess of 8 terajoules a day and 500 barrels of condensate. We anticipate it to continue to run continue to operate without any interruptions. I believe that taking the time to talk today emphasises that Empire shareholders previously have not been fooled by a spill of a board to take control of a company. I would anticipate that shareholders have waited patiently, about to get their just returns. As we now proceed, we would anticipate that the share price would start to reflect that and would increase with that. And I think I would anticipate shareholders would understand that, and that's why they have remained on the register and are anticipating our drilling programs and seismic programs that the current board has in place.